like having a clean hobby space is important, but it's also to feel inspired. But it's also inspiring to like do lots of stuff at the same time. I've done a whole table of terrain for Trench Crusade, meanwhile as doing a whole Votan army, meanwhile doing all my Trench Pilgrims, and it's just stuff exactly everywhere, and bits, and yeah, you can't walk in here. So we got our hands on summoning a Pit Locust demon, which we will try to paint, but first we'll have to print it. So when you print, you have to shake the bottle, you have to have heat, and since I live in the north, it's pretty cold everywhere, and I have installed an aquarium heater inside my printer. It costs nothing and keeps the temperature around 20-30 degrees Celsius. Let's see. Once you printed it, you have to clean it and cure it. Oh la la. But I wanted to convert mine a bit to make it different from miscasts, so I snipped off his wings, and I think it looks pretty sleek, looks fast. And once it's cured, I primed it using a high gloss primer from Green Stuff World. This is a great primer for making like black cannons. It's a great primer for using chrome effects and metal effects. And I had bought a black chrome paint, which was new. And yeah, I tried it. I thought this would be my winning idea, that it would have black chrome, it would look hellish and cool, but it kind of didn't. It looked better with just the primer, I think. So I panicked, and the rest of the paint job is me using a little bit of everything I have in my stash. I use rust, I use metallics, I use chrome, I use different types of rust. I use glowy effect for the fire head, and I use different kinds of vomit for the mouth to make it, I wanted to look hellish, but not the classic with fire and blood. I wanted it more disgusting, so not as true to the artwork. And that's what I do. I thought also that this time I'll prove miscast wrong. I'll really spend a lot of time on it. And looking at the material now, 1.5 hours. Yeah. To finish it off, I use dry pigments for the base to make it look matte and make it look dirty, because I didn't use oil washes this time. I just used Nuln oil. I use oil washes when doing bigger projects like an army project or more models, when you can begin with one, oil them all, and when you've done 100 models you can wipe off the first. When only using one model, you have to put on oil, wait for a good while, and then wipe it off. So I went for the Nuln oil this time. And the differences in gloss and matte is also quite important for a model. Like if you want the puke to look like puke, it has to be glossy. And since my model, all the metal parts were quite glossy to begin with my primer, nothing stood out. So I had to make contrasts in some way. But yeah, you will see the end result later. And that's my take on the Pit Locust, and I can't wait to use it in game.
So it's time for some painting. and it's been a while for me actually, because I got so severely burnt out from stress painting wood elves for an old world tournament earlier this year. I had just spent all my coffee breaks at work just highlighting eagle feathers, and it was not a great time. And I did manage to get nominated for a message show during the tournament, so it was kind of worth it, but also it was not, because I haven't been picking up a paintbrush since April this year. So it is time to get that hobby spark back. And I'm really excited, of course, because we get to paint one of the official Kickstarter models, the Pit Locust. And if you've been keeping up with our shorter content here on YouTube and also now on TikTok, you may have seen that there has been some sparks flying, I would say. So it's time to get started, but first I need to follow Lakey's example and tidy up this hobby space of mine, because it could be cleaner, but also most importantly I think it could be a lot grimdarker. So we'll see to that first. And I know that Lakey is doing his own thing, but my plan is to try and stay as close to the artwork as possible. I think that will be a fun challenge. And since I then of course want this to be as dark and as true as possible, I will begin with a layer of black metal. So I think that I will go the same way as I do with some of my Battle Sisters for 40k. To get the really dark armor effect, I start with silver and then paint a coat of black contrast over, and then we'll take it from there. I was not happy with the face, the skin color. At first I wanted it to be a lot more pink in tone than what I got from my usual go-to starting paint for faces, which is the Bugman's Glow from Citadel. I don't think it was the right move here, so I will paint a lot of stuff over it until I get more close to where I was wanting to go. And I will say this, that some parts of this painting process is not even on camera, because I just gave up from time to time. It was so hard to focus on painting when I was focusing on filming the painting. But this will be a learning process, I think. Going for, I want to say the box art, but it's not really a box yet, but the official artwork, and trying to recreate that color scheme can be a good move if you're like me and you have been struggling a bit to find some painting inspiration, because I can get a bit stuck when I have to make too many decisions. Decision fatigue is a real thing, and it's just nice to have a guide. The only thing I need to think about and decide is, okay, what paint from my collection can I use to try to recreate this part. It's not less creative, it's just you have to use your brain a little bit differently, and you don't get stuck with just, okay, here's my blank canvas. What paints do I want on it? What color scheme? I have the picture and I can look at it and I just go, okay, I will try to capture the feeling as good as I can. I spent a lot of time on the fire part. I think that on this model, that really is like the centerpiece part of the model, and I wanted that to stand out. I also really wanted to capture that effect of the way the fire on the artwork is not that, it's really just a tiny flame, and it's mostly just smoke. On the miniature, the flame parts is a quite large part. That's why I chose to not paint the whole flame part in fire color and instead just let it fade out into black at the top. And you will see at the end result what I mean. Because what you see here isn't really a tutorial, it's just vibes. And then, it's just a time lapse, so you won't really see what's happening anyway. So that's why I'm telling you. We have a lot to work out format-wise for this channel, but we are having a lot of fun with it, so I hope you will stick around. And this has been our first painting video. We wanted this to be a bit like a competition, but not that serious. So if you want to participate, we invite you to tell us in the comments one of our little demons is your favorite. If you have any plans for your color scheme, what you do if you're stuck creativity-wise, or just tell us whatever. Give us some more music recommendations, or just talk amongst yourself.